finished writing my books. I'm working on my second book too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you transition into, I would say, the third part of your career. Your first part you was
That's
working,
it.
second part
That's
entrepreneur.
it.
Now you
Yeah.
teaching.
Yeah. Teaching and chilling. Seriously.
Hey, that's the best way to do it. That's the best way to do it. All right, we about to be live in about 5 seconds. So let me get this ready to send out to the people, and then I'll be ready to get it in. Let's see. Live on YouTube. Yeah, man. So I'm 27, man. So
That's
it's a
good.
lot.
It's good. Get in.
Yeah, I'm ready to get it in. We live on YouTube now. Okay, let me send a blast out to the people so everybody can get in here. But yeah, I can't wait till the book come out.
Oh yeah, I'm excited about it, man. It's a good read, very enjoyable to read. And so the publishers are working on it now. So it's going to take about 4 or 5 months to actually put the actual book in hand. And working with, about to get ready to get my public relations going. I got 2 PR firms I'm working with. About to work with some serious digital marketing. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, man.
Spending a lot of money, but I want it to hit big.
All right, so we just sent that out to the email. And everything going. Yeah, man. So it's a lot of, it's a few adjustments that you can make to what you got going on that I think will help you out as well. So I'll be, we can probably sit down for about a day. For about an hour or so and talk about a few different things, but especially when that book come out. When that book come out, man, it's gonna be impactful. So
the other one's gonna come out right behind it. The other one's coming right behind it. It's a whole different market, target audience. And then next year I'll work on the third one. I got about 10 or 11 to write.
Okay. Well, you're gonna be dropping one a year like albums.
Yeah. Well, I have a ghostwriter work with me, but I did all the upfront writing. So we're just spinning it to different audiences, the message dealing with different situations that we deal with as a community, right? So the 50 and over, people start at 50, right? Different messages for them, depending on where you are in life. Single mothers, right? There's a different message, different approach, different strategies.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we just sent everything out, so we're ready to go. If you guys are just coming in, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys just coming in. We're getting. Let's get it. All right, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. So we're live on Finance Fridays. My name is James Hill. I'm the CEO and host of Finance Fridays and the CEO of Black Millionaires. So right now, we're in the digital age, right? So I'm looking to connect with as many as people, which is what bringing you in, bringing you guys verified Black millionaires to speak with and learn from. And it's best to start with someone who I learned a lot from you just watching your lives, talking to you on the phone, side conversations, things like that. So I'm pretty sure you got a lot that you can share to our audience, and I'm gonna be soaking up the information as well. So we got Cedric Nash, the real deal millionaire money moves on, and we can get you guys all to follow him once we're finished. But if you guys are just coming in, please like the broadcast and share it out to 5. Everything with who you are, to briefly introduce yourself, and we're going to get in this millionaire talk.
All right, want me to do it now? Your audio is a little on my end. It's coming across a little rumbled. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You hear me?
Yeah, I can. It's just coming across a little jarbled. But want me to get started with the intro now?
Yeah. Go ahead, get started.
Okay. Hello, y'all. How you guys doing? Happy Finance Fridays. This is Cedric Nash. I call myself the real deal millionaire because I started my journey out of college and have built up wealth over the years. I own a company with about 300 employees across two brands. We do about $90 million in revenue. This year, probably did about 95 million in revenue. And over the time of running and building that business over the past 24 years, going on 25 years, I've invested in real estate. I've invested in securities, stocks and bonds. I've invested in private equity, which is other companies, and obviously entrepreneurship. I have actually other businesses that I have and run as well. And my experience over those years have given me my little tips and tricks that I've actually put into a book that I'm coming out with called From Zero to Million, Starting from the Bottom. And I'm planning on writing a series of books targeted to people of color, targeted to African Americans, on how they too could achieve Destination Millionaire and beyond. So that's my introduction, James. Yeah, we have an audio challenge, James.
Yeah. So
there you go.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So let's get started, right? So as we talked offline, I'm 27, right? So I look at the world different than you look at the world, right? So you're looking at the world looking back, talking about, looking at the things that you did to build your wealth. And I'm looking at the world looking forward, planning and strategizing every day to build my wealth, right? So what advice would you give to someone young, getting out of college, starting in their 20s, or just getting a trade to build wealth? What would be your first few steps on getting your million money moves started? What would be your first move?
I think the first move is you got to work on the fuel for your journey, and the fuel to your journey is your income. It's like starting off, your income, you got to get your kind of income up and keep your costs down so that you can start saving as much money as possible. And the benefit you have as being young is that you have energy and you have time. So what I mean by that is that invariably you might have a main hustle, which is your job. So you got to work your main hustle, but you have to use that energy and that youth to work that side hustle too. Right? And that side hustle could be whatever it is. It could be also the thing that you're doing to eventually turn into a business, but you got to put your energy into those things. And with that main hustle and that side hustle, you have to take all that income with lowered expenses and you have to invest that money and grow it. And as you invest it and grow it, now you're going to have capital to put into your business or to put into real estate to really get the momentum going. Because building wealth is about building momentum. It's about putting these building blocks in place that over time, and these building blocks of assets, that over time, these assets grow, they generate income, and they compound and they build to your wealth. The challenge young people have today is that there's so much money spent on advertisement, commercials. There's so many influential rappers and ballers and stuff like that that are driving young people to kind of spend a lot of money, in bottle services and traveling and brunches and those types of things. So now they're taking that good money that should be used to invest and create the building blocks of wealth. They're wasting it. So what they have to do is kind of find a way to bottle that cash up.
Yeah. So what do you, I mean, as a young person, right? Mm-hmm. It happens to me. I'm not so when, a lot of times our community, right? The mm-hmm. people who look like money get treated a certain way. And right. Even if you have the most money, a lot of times if people don't see you and they don't think you make a lot of money, you run challenges. So we see Instagram, for example, a lot of influencers and people in order to make a lot of money, right? So yeah. Where's the balance between the two when it comes to looking good and actually, having money? Because I think that's a big challenge. And coming from someone like yourself with money, you can go buy all the Gucci and Louis you want, but you don't choose to. And I know when you were growing up, it probably was a challenge for you as well. So how did you handle that? Because, you don't want to pull up to the meeting in a beat down Honda, right. That's too loud.
Well, it's like
you don't want to pull up in a Ferrari that turn people off.
Well, it is a challenge for our community because a lot of what happens with us financial is really mostly cultural. And what I mean by cultural is that our culture has a certain amount of vibrato about it, right? There's a way you're supposed to look to get a certain amount of respect. And there's a lot of things in our culture, unfortunately, that pushes us in the opposite direction of wealth. We don't believe it. We don't know it. I mean, we've taken the mantra of fake it till you make it. We've taken it to heart so far that, we really, really look the part. But the big question is, has wearing Gucci ever got you that meeting? Has wearing Prada or wearing Louis Vuitton ever got you that contract? The reality is it doesn't. They want to know what your capabilities are, what your past experiences are, and what are your past clients say about you as references. So, and in certain industries, if you're in the music industry, maybe it might mean something more. But the reality is that that's part of our culture, and even as kids who may not come from money, or kids who do come from money, it's just a part of our culture, and it's one of those things that we have to constantly battle over and over again. Now, like I said, I came out of college and I did things mostly right, but I did things wrong too. I bought a BMW right out of college. I was wearing Hugo Boss suits when I worked at a laboratory where you could wear jeans and t-shirts, right? So I was doing these things. I was dressing like the CEO of the laboratory when I didn't have to. But one of the things that cracked me up, James, is I had a buddy of mine named David Haupt I used to play basketball with. He was some white boys from New York that were engineers but loved to play basketball. We played basketball. I remember I bought my first condo right out of college. I paid $115,000 for this condo. I put $6,000 down. I saved up the money while I was in college because I had side hustles in college. I put together a computer network for a plastic surgeon, and I saved up $7,000 and was able to buy my first condo. I was feeling proud, but my condo was in the hood. It was in the barrio. It was over there where Rodney King got beat by the cops. I was right around the corner from there in California, literally right around the corner, right? So I was feeling proud. And one time I remember talking to Dave, and Dave would wear jeans and t-shirts and like little kids to work every single day. And I said, Dave, well, when are you going to buy a place? He was living with 2 or 3 other roommates. And yet Dave had $45,000 saved up. And it just blew my mind. So I'm just saying that, but culturally, here I am driving a BMW wearing Hugo Boss suits and Ferragamo shoes. So culturally, there's something in us that want to prove that we are somebody. And unfortunately, that thing right there holds us back sometimes from actually being somebody. And you have to kind of suppress that to the extent that you can to build up your capital so you can start investing and saving.
Okay, so in this market right now, we're in the down market. Stocks are down, was down on right? So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Real estate is up, right? So where do you park your capital? Let's say you got $10,000 with that money in order to grow it and grow your net worth.
Right now, if you have capital, I mean, you got to be careful of the market. The market's high. If you look at the S&P, or if you look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, since 2009, since about March of 2009, the market has been growing, right? We've had like a 12 or 13 year run. So it's real risky to get into the market now because you're buying high. So in my mind, and at the same time, real estate is really high. And we're dealing with this inflation, and we've got to see how this inflation is going to play out. If the Feds increase interest rates, then the value of houses are going to come down because the cost of getting a house is going to be high. And so therefore people are going to be like, well, I don't know if I want to buy a house because maybe the interest rates are too high and the prices are going to come down. So it could be a tricky part. So really what you should do is you should be putting your money into what I would say is a diversified set of dividend type stocks. I'm talking about like the McDonald's and the Exxon and the oil companies and the Johnson and Johnsons and those solid companies. Because no matter what happens within an inflation, they'll be impacted, but their stocks don't move up or down too far, and they're constantly giving you dividends, and those dividends keep you moving forward, even when the stock is not going up as high, and it keeps you safe, and it gets you prepared for when the market shifts, because we might be getting into a real deep recession. And if we do, you want to be in a position to buy up all the cheap stocks and all the good stuff, and you want to be able to buy houses when the values come down. So this is a moment in my mind to be paused, but you can't keep your money sitting in the bank account because of inflation. The value of those dollars go down. You got to keep them working. And so that's my philosophy.
Yeah, so for entrepreneurs, right? Because a lot of people who follow me for entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
right? And you're someone who has had a good career. I say you had three careers. Your first career, you was working as a nine to
Mhm.
five employee, putting a lot of hours, right? And you were successful at that. And then your second life was, oh, your second career was you being an entrepreneur and you building up a multi-million dollar business that did $90 million, as you spoke about. And now you're transitioning into teaching our community about how to build wealth, right?
Exactly.
So, what would you say to the young entrepreneur just getting started? And they're conflicted because people tell them they need multiple streams of income. They need to be investing in stocks and crypto and NFTs and everything, the metaverse and all this new stuff coming out. But they got this business they're trying to start. Give us some advice on what you should do to actually build a business. Do you really need 7 or 8 streams of income and all of that?
Yeah, I love that, James. That's a great question. I mean, when you first start out your business, 125% of your effort needs to be in making that business go, getting it stabilized, making sure that it works. And once you get it stabilized and you start making a reasonable profit, now you take those profits, and every year when you're profitable after you pay your taxes, you put that money aside and you build it. My philosophy has been, because I never knew my business would last 25 years. I thought I had a particular run because of the certain kind of technology I was in. And that by that time, the big competitors would gobble me up and there'd be no opportunity for me. But it lasted 25 years. I kept pivoting, and finding new opportunities in new markets. But my philosophy when I started my business was that I was going to make enough cash, put it on the side, invest in like a franchise, right? And allow that franchise to be a steady business and to continue to provide me income and to kind of grow my wealth. That was my thought. So over time, I kept putting cash aside, but I ended up investing in real estate during that time. So I was buying apartment buildings and multifamily properties, and I've got a few commercial properties as well. But so my recommendation to entrepreneurs starting out is that, in your first few years, you got to go all in, focusing on your business, focusing on making it profitable, focusing on making it operate without you, building up your staff, developing your policies, your procedures internally, making sure, for example, I've been fortunate that I have not been as involved in my business for the last 2 or 3 years, and my team has continued to grow revenue, right? The business is growing. So I felt like it could grow faster if I was to lace back up and get back in and go out and hustle and start, closing some deals. But they've been doing a good job, and you have to, and you have, that's all the work that I did preparing and getting that business in shape for that. And a lot of people dream of, I want to create a business and after a year or two, put a manager in there and then I can go do what I want to do while the business grows. The reality is it doesn't work that way. It takes years and years and years to build up your business to that point. And then even then, you kind of still have to kind of keep focused on it to keep going. So young entrepreneurs got to hone in their craft. They got to pick first the right business. And what I mean by the right business, in my book, I talk about these 14 or 15 considerations that you need to make to pick the right business for you. Right. So, and I just posted an article about one of my favorite restaurants in Oakland. This woman was an incredible chef. She was a top chef. Used to love this restaurant called Brown Sugar Kitchen, and they closed their doors. And she worked there for 15 or 16 years. So you got to pick the right business, because she started struggling towards the end, even though she had a great following. And businesses are challenging and they need a lot of energy and effort. And the owner has to constantly be there willing to pivot and watch every move of the business so they can keep it alive. So, but as your business grows and you're profitable, as I said before, you got to be pulling those profits away. Your business potentially makes your income, and it's your investments that make you rich.
Mhm. Okay, so you mentioned employees, right?
Mhm.
So when should a business hire their first employee? I mean, a lot of times people say you're not a boss until you have someone working for you. So when should a business hire their first employee?
I think a business should hire their first employee once they get a steady flow of steady flow of revenue coming in that business long enough to sustain some employees. And so, and I did it out the gate. What happened was I hired one lady up front to help manage my back office stuff. I was consulting out on the road, and then I was out there trying to sell and get more work. And so her name was Natalie Singh. I kept Natalie with me for a long time until she quit. And then as soon as I got into office space, which I was forced to because my roommate kicked me out of his apartment where I was starting the business. I was building a house and I was living with my buddy while the house was being built, starting the business in his living room. So he kicked me out. I had to go get an office space. And I was on the road traveling from New Jersey back to California and then back to see my family in Southern California. So I was traveling all over the place. But I knew that while I was out there consulting, that I needed to have some people out there trying to get more people on billing. So I started hiring a team of recruiters and salespeople to get people on billing because, what I saw in the business is a business is a system, and a system is something that kind of operates. You give it fuel, the engine runs, and it kind of either moves the car or it produces a product, or it produces revenue. And so I know that my business needed this system to kind of create revenue by itself without me. And so I started hiring employees and managing them while I was remote. So I think that you want to do it as soon as possible. And it is a big sacrifice because now you're not putting money in your pocket. You're putting money back into the business to get it to grow to a certain size so you can eventually take money out of the business and you can make a profit and move that profit into other investment streams. So I think you need to do it as soon as you possibly can, but you need to feel comfortable that you can cover that employee until they can start generating income for you. So is that 6 months? Is that a year? Is that 3 months? It depends on your business, but you need to have enough money to cover them so that they can start making money and adding money to the business. So it's not so much pressure on you to do it. And just to let you know, James, over 25 years, I've never missed a payroll. Gotten close. It's been tight sometimes. I've never missed a payroll.
Okay, now let's talk about growing your net worth, right? As a young Black professional, what do you think are let's just say three things that keeps our community from growing their net worth? If we can change these 3 or 4 things,
love it.
Our net worth will double and triple, right? So give us three to 4 tips on how we can double our net worth.
Well, if you talk about community or individual, because there's something in our community. Huh?
Community.
Well, I'm pretty sure you saw this study that was put out in Ebony magazine some time ago that the dollar circulates within the Black community just 6 hours, and it circulates in the white community 17 days, circulates in the Asian community 20 days, and it circulates in the Jewish community 30 days. The fact that the dollar does not circulate in our community more than 6 hours is a problem. I'm pretty sure you guys have all heard that. And why is it a problem? Is because, and you may say, well, first of all, how does that happen? Well, it happens because the guy who owns the buildings in our community are typically the white guys. They own the buildings. And the people who own the businesses in the community are typically the Asians, the white guys, the Middle Easterns, right? They own the liquor stores, they own the grocery stores, they own the places where we go and shop. And there's really only 4 businesses that you can find in a Black community, in every Black community, right? You know what those 4 businesses are, James? It's a barbershop. It's a hair salon. It might be a food eatery. It could be Jamaican, African, or a Black owned soul food restaurant, and it's going to be a Black church. The Black church is the richest of them all. And there might be, like, if you're in Maryland like I am, there's a lot of other small kind of businesses here, but for the most part, there are those 4 businesses there. So, but the majority of our money, when we go pay for gas, and when we go to the cleaners to get our clothes done, and when we go to the grocery store to buy food, when we go to the liquor store to buy liquor, the majority of our money is leaving our community. Why? Because the owner of those businesses don't live in our community. I know that's like that in Prince George's County, one of the most wealthiest counties across the country. So those guys don't live in Prince George's County. They live in Montgomery County. The Asians live out in Montgomery County. The white folks live out in Annapolis and out in Reston, Virginia. And so they take our money, and then they go circulate it in their communities. So the problem is when they do that, and then it gets deeper because whoever owns the buildings aren't necessarily Black folks either. So whoever pays them rent, they take that rent money and they go spend it in their community. So the reason why that's a problem is, back when I was a kid, we had little league teams that were funded or sponsored by the local businesses. There were little jobs in the community that were given to young Black boys who wanted to work at the grocery store or places like that. And, when we don't have businesses in our community, we are more likely to hire Black people than they are. So it takes out job opportunities. Then out of that, the mentorship, right? We don't get the mentorship. We don't get a chance to see positive Black doctors and Black business owners that can then inspire us and motivate us to open businesses too. So that has a huge, and then out of that, we don't have the capital to demand the kind of political requirements that we want in our own community, because the business owners who have all the money basically are not giving money to the politicians to advocate for Black businesses. They're doing it for the white businesses. So that creates a whole system of problems that are created by us not recycling our dollar within our own community. And I see that as opportunity. And so I personally am buying buildings in my own county, right? And I'm finding deals and opportunities, and I'm turning them in to salon studios, right? I'm buying them and turning them into salon studios that have a huge profit margin across the others. So I think that, just by, as Rick Ross says, buying back the block and seeing the opportunities in our community, I think that's how we can turn around. And if you want to know what kind of businesses to open up, just look at what Black people buy. Just look at what we buy. Let's not try to make them buy dashikis if we're not into dashikis, right? We got to basically find the things that they like and provide those services to them. People want to give pressure on Black people saying Black people don't support Black businesses. I think it's the other way around. Black businesses don't support Black people, right? The name of business is to meet your customer's needs. So you identify what your customer wants, provide it, and bam, there's the business, there's the opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's a bar right there. So for everybody watching, please like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. What you just said is a bar, and I never heard it like that, right? It's not that Black people don't support Black businesses. Black businesses are not supporting Black people.
Yeah.
Right? So when I think about that, that just gives me a whole new perspective on what our community needs. What we need is entrepreneurs that are specifically trying to serve our community, and give the tools that that they need, right? So what do you say? Okay, so what do you say to an entrepreneur like this? Okay, you see people like Jay-Z, Diddy, and all that. They go out and create liquor companies because our community drinks a lot of liquor, right? And then it's a liquor store on every corner, right? So what happens when somebody is living in one of those neighborhoods and say, well, everybody goes to the convenience store or everybody goes to the liquor store, so I'm gonna go open up a liquor store, right? Do you think that helps our community because that's where a lot of people spend money at, or do you think that sets the community back, no matter if that's Black owned or not?
That's a great question, but whether or not we own the liquor store or they own the liquor store, people gonna buy liquor, right? That's their own personal choice. It's not like we're providing them drugs, and we're not like we're providing them an illegal substance. We're just meeting their demand. I mean, where I live in Maryland, man, I go to these strip malls and all the liquor stores are owned, with the exception of one I can remember, are owned by the Middle Eastern guys who don't live in our community. So the whole point is like, and then they can control the pricing. And so those profit dollars are going back to their community and back to their families. The reality is whether or not the Middle Eastern guy owns it, a white guy owns it, or a Black guy owns it, there's profit being made. The sad part is, where is that profit going, right? I can't debate whether or not people should buy liquor or not. That's their own personal preference. The reality is they are, right? And the reality is these profit dollars are leaving our community and not serving our community, and not, inspiring or funding programs to inspire the youth in our community.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Because a lot of times people like what other races can do our community get criticized for. Right? You know what I mean? Like,
I get what you're saying.
We're held. We have lower capital, but we're held to a higher standard, right? When it comes to anything, customer service and everything. Like, for example, one of my friends stays in Louisiana, and I posted up about it, like, oh, shout out to you, just franchise the rallies, and everybody was in the comments like, well, why he ain't open up, a salad bar? We need more healthier foods and stuff like that. So it's like you can't really win, because no matter what you open up, people are going to criticize it. So I would say just start your business. If you really want to open up a rallies, that's what you want to do. All right, let's talk about some things that are relevant today. You NFTs, crypto, the metaverse, things like that. What do you see? Because you done been through a lot of booms and busts, right? You done
Right.
been through the 1999, 2000 busts. You've been through 2008, right? And
In
obviously
other
you've
words, you're
been through
saying I'm old,
2000.
Gage. I get it.
No, I'm saying you're experienced. You're an experienced investor, right? So,
Right.
what do you see with NFTs, crypto, the metaverse? Everybody's so excited about it. Everybody invests a lot of money in it. Do you see a
Well,
bubble coming when it comes to those new innovations?
what I see is, James, and you and I have had these conversations before. These are what I consider speculative investments. And what I mean by speculative investments are they're kind of unproven yet. So that doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that we don't know. And until regulation hits, until time comes, you won't really know if it's good or bad. So my approach to speculative investments, I even write this in my book, is that you can't afford to put 95, 97% of your investments in speculative investments. You can only afford to put 3 to 5% of your total portfolio. So if your portfolio is $1,000, you can only spend $3 to $5, right? Right? 30 to $50 on your on those speculative investments. That's the best way to play them. And if they go up and you lose out, you don't trip on that. If they go down and you lose everything, you don't trip on that either. See, the reality is it comes down to having very clear goals for your investments, right? So a lot of times I just think that what I hear and see on the social media about investing is that people are thinking that I can put $1 in there and I'm going to get $1,000,000, right? Just ain't so. I mean, it doesn't work that way in stocks or in anything. So the reality is that you're not trying to lose money with your stock investment. And there's only really three goals in investing, stock investing. One is I'm trying to hit a home run, right? I'm trying to turn that $1 into $1 million, right? That's a gamble, right? But it's risky. And it's like what traders do. Some are good, most are not, right? Then there's the solid value investor that says, you know what? I'm trying to get 5 to 7 to 10% compounded over time, right? I don't want to lose. I just want to keep growing 7 to 10% compounded over time and keep loading my stock that way. And then there's others who says, I build up my snowball. My snowball is huge. I've got a big wad of cash. Now what I want to do, I want to turn that cash into income by investing in dividend stocks and living off the income and keeping that wad of cash safe. So there's just 3 strategies that you have to decide, what is your strategy? Am I the wild, wild west guy that want to put $1 there hoping I'm going to get $1 million? Well, if you do that, there's a good chance you could lose everything because it's almost impossible to time the market. And it takes lots of studies and research to understand where it's going. Or are you that 5 to 10% guy? Me, I'm the 5 to 10% guy. Why? Because I know that even though the stock market can do very well, through my business and through my own efforts, I can make more money. I can make more money than the stock market can make for me. So I'd rather be safe, and the money that I make, I'd rather put it in a safe place and have it grow, at a very, very comfortable level, as opposed to taking risk and pour all my money into something that I could potentially lose. So it really comes down to your investment goals, your investment philosophies. If you don't have an investment goal or philosophy, then you need to take a step back and say, what am I trying to do overall? Because the fear is, I was about to post something, and I had these series of posts to kind of show people this story. And I was going to use cryptocurrency as an example. And that was when Bitcoin was like at about 66,000 a coin. And I was going to ask, like, if you had one Bitcoin, what price would Bitcoin have to be in order for you to make $1 million clear and free after tax, right? How many coins would you have to have? Or what would the price have to be if you had one coin? And I said, well, if you had 5 coins, which at the time would have been $300,000, right? If you had 5 coins, how high would Bitcoin have to go in terms of price-wise until you made $1 million or more? So I was going to post the question and the next day post the answer. And so the moral of the story is, it takes a lot of money in the stock market, whether or not you're in Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, or whatever, in order to make $1 million. And not only that, even if you had the $300,000, it takes a while to build up $300,000 and put it all into one investment vehicle. And then I asked the question, if you had the $300,000, would you put it all in Bitcoin? Well, if you would have did when I asked the question, when it was 66,000, it would have cost you 300,000, right? So it would have been 5 times 66,000. Well, the last time I checked, Bitcoin had dropped down to 46,000. I don't know where it is now. But the whole point is you would have lost if you would have put all that $300,000. You would have lost about what? $20,000 per Bitcoin, 20,000 times 5, you would have lost $100,000. So the whole point is investing is about diversification so that when it does drop, or if it does drop, you don't lose everything. Now, if you had just 5% of that $300,000 in there, then, which was $15,000, it would have dropped. You would have only lost what, about $5,000. So you got to really understand your goals and objective of investing, as opposed to getting excited and going all in into speculative investments. It's about having a diverse portfolio that you invest over time, that you build up. That's what making millionaire money moves is all about. And that's what building wealth is all about. I know it's a long answer. Sorry.
Okay, now, no, man, I love the long-winded answers. You're always dropping gems on there. So guys, if you're just coming in, please like and share this out to your friends and family. Please subscribe. It helps us grow the channel so I can bring more individuals like Cedric on here. So I know we talked offline about a lot of the books and ideas that you have coming in the future, right? And one of the books you have is tailored towards Black women, right? And how they can build their wealth and, you know, and grow their wealth. So could you talk about the differences and approaches that have to take in terms of building her wealth compared to her other counterparts?
Man, now you got me leaking my future books, man. But, you know, just in general, my book, it's kind of focused on single Black females and single moms, because the reason is because the Washington Post put an article out some time ago that said the median net worth of single Black females was $5. So you can Google that and see that. $5, right? And there's a lot of reasons why that is the case. And so I wanted to write a book to give single women some tools and some ideas about building their wealth. And some of it has to do with timing, especially if they're a single mom, you know, because sometimes single moms are in situations where they're not getting financial support from the dads, and they're, you know, and now you got one person on one income trying to support a household, which is very, very difficult, extremely difficult. And so when that's the situation, how in the world can you build wealth when all of your resources have to go towards survival, right? And so I wanted to write a book to inspire Black women that if that is your situation, if life dealt you that hand, that, you know, you should not give up on your hopes and dreams of destination millionaire. You shouldn't. It's just a dream deferred. It's not a dream canceled or a dream over. It's just a dream deferred. And so my philosophy is that they should focus on their kids and get their kids in a position where they can support themselves by the time they turn 18 or 21. You know, get them to scholarships. I mean, put all of their efforts and energy into building up that kid so that that kid can leave the home and not be a financial drain to her anymore. And they are self-sufficient, whether or not they go into the workforce, they go into the military, or they go into college and have a college scholarship. And during that time, during that 18-year period of time or 10-year period of time, whatever many years left, that they should start putting the effort and energy into developing their plans for their entrepreneurial dream and their entrepreneurial goal, right? Start figuring out where they're going to get their capital, what kind of business they're going to create, what kind of opportunities are there for them to create a business, what kind of skills and talents they have that they want to bring to the world. So I'm saying make that a 10-year planning, an 18-year planning session, so that when that kid leaves the home, you're ready to go get your business on, right? You know where the capital's going to come from. You know how you're going to operate your business to not waste that time. So I believe that that's the most optimal way. Yeah, you could start a business while you're raising your kids too. It's just that it's very difficult. And I know that firsthand because I'm a divorcee and I raised my sons in the summer months, and I had to go to my business, and I can only work about 6 hours a day, James. I drop them off at camp. I go to work, but I'd have to leave work by 3 o'clock and get to the grocery store and get prepared to make dinner so that, you know, they can eat dinner at a reasonable hour and start the next day. I can only work 6 days a week or 6 hours a day. So that's how I came to this idea that this is challenging, this is difficult. And moms do this every single day. They plan meals for 365 days a year. And I'm just doing it for the summertime and for like Easter and like Christmas and stuff like that. So I understand those challenges, and I believe that it's really more of deferring their dream, but not letting up their dream, and kind of empowering them to be prepared to take off once their kid is in good shape.
Now, a lot of times, people start businesses, they don't have mentors, they don't learn, or they only learn from their mistakes, right? So I want to ask you, could you give us some detail and some insight on one of the biggest mistakes that you made in your business and how you overcame it? Just so people can learn from that and they don't have to make the same mistake that you made.
Yeah, I mean, well, shoot, there's a lot of mistakes I've made in my business, but I think one of the ones that stands out is that one of the mistakes that I made is that in one of my first contracts at Panasonic, there was a gentleman I was working with, and this is really about relationships. And he, really didn't like the guy. He was kind of an asshole. Like, I didn't really like him, and he wasn't that knowledgeable about the system that we were putting in. And I was probably the most knowledgeable on the entire project. So every single time he said something that was wrong, I took it upon myself to be arrogant and to basically show, that he didn't know what he was talking about, right? So I would correct him in meetings, kind of politely but sarcastically, just really trying to make him look bad. And I didn't establish a relationship with this guy. We've since become friends, but I didn't establish a relationship with this guy. But it turned out that this guy had the relationship of the big boss. I mean, he was, no one really liked him in the company, but him and the big boss, he'd take the big boss out, drinking and smoking cigars, and they had a great relationship. And then later on, as time went on, this guy kept getting promoted. Now, I was latched onto a Black woman who was like my big sister, who knew she was sharp. I mean, she had it together, and they kept promoting her and promoting him side by side, but he had the relationship of the big boss, right? So then he goes on to run a huge project after we were crazy successful delivering on this one project. And this was like really kind of my first client. And he didn't even give me a shot. He didn't even look at me or my company to help him with that other project. It was a bigger project. There was more money. But had I basically kept my ego in check and basically build a relationship with him and gave him the respect that he deserved, there's a good chance that I would have got that business. Now, we've since become friends, but like we can laugh about it today. But what I learned is relationships are powerful. And if you're in business, especially if you're in a relationship business, anything in the services area, like, law firms, consulting firms, nursing, staffing or whatever, they're all relationship based. There's loads of people that can do what you do. How you get the business is, but there are people that they want to do business with. And you have to have a pleasing personality and be great about relationships and respectful for that, because it's all about the relationship. And so, what I learned is that, everybody has to be your friend. And these same people that I met back then, I still, from here and time to time, do business together because of our relationships that we established over time. So the relationship never dies when they leave that organization. It continues on. And if you do it right, as they move on, you grow in your relationship. Case in point, when my big sister Sheila left Panasonic, she went to Nabisco. Where did I go? I was doing consulting at Nabisco. She left Nabisco, she went to Becton Dickinson. Where did I go? I started doing business with Becton Dickinson. Right now, I got 3 clients as a result of this friendship, and you meet new friends. So, relationships and keeping your attitude and your ego in check is so important to building relationships. And that was the lesson I learned.
Hey, man, that's a because I know I didn't went through that as well. I was a banker at Quicken, and I was new, I was young, I was always grinding. I mean, I was the first person in. I stayed like walking distance away from the building. So this is my first big job. I had a loft downtown Detroit, so I stayed walking distance away from the building. So I was the first person in, last person to leave, because I didn't have to commute. But they had this tournament, and it was like the top 5 people get to go on a trip. You get like a $10,000 bonus. You get all that. And me and this guy just kept getting into it. And then I didn't realize he was on like the committee that select the people to win and do all this. And I came in and I was like tied or something. I was like number 6 tied with the 5th person. And then he didn't even give me a shot. Like they posted it was like another day that we were supposed to come in and make calls and actually break the tiebreaker. He didn't even let me know about it. So
Wow.
when I showed up at, just randomly showed up and worked for like 3-4 hours on a Saturday. The other guy was in there since 8 o'clock in the morning taking calls, and he was like, "Oh yeah, today's a tiebreaker," and he eventually beat me. And
Right.
after I learned this after I left the company and started my business and was successful and all that. Then I actually talked to some people and I learned about this, but you know, it's one of those things that suck, especially to our community, because a lot of these big companies are not run by us. So if we're working there, we don't naturally have that relationship and we have to establish it. But
Yep.
that is something that's very important, and I learned that the hard way because I missed out on basically about $10,000 in a bonus, paid vacation, and all these trips and all of that. So, something that I look back and say I learned that lesson. It cost me $10,000.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
yeah,
won't make that one again.
mine cost me millions. And what happens is with these relationships is that, in general, it's hard for us to build these relationships, period, because, they don't see themselves, they don't see themselves, when they were, they don't see, they don't latch to us, naturally, right? They just don't latch to us naturally, right? And the way I have a book in my mind to write about relationships, and I would call it, breakfast, coffee, lunch, dinner, and barbecues, right? See, the name of the game is to get to the barbecue, right? Because at the barbecue, you only want people at your barbecue that you can really, really just be yourself with, right? Right? The people that come to your barbecue are your boys. You'll go to breakfast with kind
Yeah.
of anybody. You'll take coffee with somebody. You even go to lunch. Dinner, it's got to be a little special because I'm not going to take my personal time for dinner unless it's somebody that I really enjoy being with. But you ain't going to the barbecue unless you're like way up in there. So if you can get to the barbecue, you got that relationship. You can ask for whatever you want. You get what I mean?
Hey man, that's a good. Hey, you need to copyright and trademark that right now.
Yeah.
I love that because you know what? When I think about it, some of the best relationships that I have, I always get invited over to their house, right? And I never think about like, wow, I'm in their personal space, right? And
Yes.
some of the executives that I have worked with that have never invited me to lunch or coffee or nothing like that, I never had a relationship with them, and that could potentially hurt me. Okay, so let's transition, and then we're gonna take a few more questions because I don't know how long you got.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm
let's
probably
transition
down to
into the stock.
I'm probably down to 8 o'clock. I got to take my son to the airport.
Okay, cool. So let's transition into the stock now, right? Um, what are your top three stock that you're looking at or you're investing in? And I always encourage people to do your research. We're not your advisors. We're not decision for you. But what are three investments that you are either you invested in or that you are potentially looking at making an investment
I'll put
in
it
this
this
current
way.
market today?
I'll put it this way. If I had to buy just three stocks, right? And you guys, like I said, I'm not a certified financial planner. I'm not an advisor. I'm not licensed to give people advice about stock. I'm just telling you what I would do, and I'll kind of tell you why. And the three stocks I would buy without question would be number one would be Apple. And the reason why I say Apple is because Apple um, Apple has as much cash as Elon Musk has in net worth, right? Apple has about 200 billion in cash, right? And Apple is a beast from a technology standpoint. And the third thing is that Apple is looking to get into electric cars. And if you look at what happened to Tesla with electric cars, right? The valuation of Tesla and electric cars is amazing. And why? Because Tesla is the ninth largest car manufacturer in the world, right? In terms of volume and in terms of revenue and in terms of profit. You know who the number one car manufacturer is, James? Who do you think it is?
Uh, is it Volkswagen?
Volkswagen's close. I think it's Toyota. Volkswagen's really close.
Okay.
Good answer, right? It's Toyota, right? So what happened was when Tesla stock went through the roof and analysts kept saying, don't buy, it's overpriced. don't do it. After a while, they got tired of saying that it's not a good buy and watching the stock go up. And then they had to scratch their head. And what they said was, electric cars are not valued like traditional cars. They're valued more like a technology, right? So my feeling is that when Apple gets into the electric car industry, that they're going to kill it because they are superior in terms of technology. And I believe that the same impact that the market had on Tesla stock is going to happen to Apple stock. Apple stock is trading at, like, last I checked, like $172 a share. I told people in my group, I said, hey, if I were you, when it split, right before it split, I'd buy Apple. And that was when it was $100 a share. Now it's up 70% more, right? So I believe that it has a huge runway to go. And the other reason is, going back to their cash, with, Tesla had about 13 billion in cash or 15 billion in cash. Apple has close to 200 billion in cash, right, on their balance sheets. So my attitude is that if you look like, Apple's they're either going to buy you or they're going to beat you, one or the other, but they won't be beat. So I like it because I don't think that they can't lose. Because another technology comes up to threaten them, they're either going to buy them or they're going to beat them. Either they're going to beat them straight out. If they can't beat them straight out, they're going to buy them. And they have enough cash to do that. So that's why I like Apple. The other one that I really like is Berkshire Hathaway B. Berkshire Hathaway B is Warren Buffett stock. The reason why I like it is because it owns Geico. It's like an index fund. It owns a whole bunch of other companies. And as we speak, Berkshire Hathaway B is $327 a share. I bought it when it split years ago, and it split, I think it was split 7-1. So it went down to $70 a share. I bought it at $70 a share. It's at $324 a share. The reason why I like it, it's an index. It's diversified across a lot of different brands. It's owned by it. And if anybody knows what to do during these treacherous times of the market, it is Warren Breezy, right? Warren Buffett. He knows what to do. He's smart. He's got a smart group of smart people. And I just think he's just a safe bet to invest with. My third one is a tough one. And I have to really, really think about what my third one is. My third one would probably be kind of like a utility company.
Just a side note, Warren. Just a side note, Berkshire Hathaway owns, I think, about 7 or 8% of Apple.
Yep.
Very, very large position in Apple. So there's a common theme here.
Exactly. And I think the third stock I would buy, if I had to buy one, I would go with more of a dividend play. Something like, in my mind, potentially in the financial services area. Yeah, I bought Bank of America when it was $7 a share. Bank of America is now, it's up to about $47 a share. And the reason why I like Bank of America the banking is because interest rates have been low for a long, long time. And I mean, for a long time. Just to give you an idea, James, when I bought my first house, I was right out of college. My variable interest rate was 8%. The fixed interest rate was 10%. I know you guys can't imagine that. 10% was the fixed rate. Right now, the fixed rate is like 3 to 4%, right? It was 10%, right? 8% was variable. And then when we went down to 7%, like in the 90s, that was like, oh, wow, this is low. This is incredible. Now it's down to 3 or 4%. Well, what do you think is going to happen when the interest rates start climbing up? It's going to climb up sometime, right? The feds can't be giving the banks free money to make little money on interest. So when interest rates eventually come up, banks are going to make a profit, and banks have done wonders at being very technologically capable, and they've cut out a lot of fat in their organization by using technology. So they're lowering their overhead and priming themselves to make a huge profit as interest goes up. So that's my thought. Take it with a grain of salt. It's just my thoughts. And if you do buy them, you dollar cost.
All right, Cedric Nash, I appreciate you. Millionaire Money Moves. Make sure you guys go follow him on Instagram. Let me make sure I put that in the chat. I'm gonna drop your Instagram in the chat. Yeah. Make sure you guys go follow him on Instagram.
Follow me at Millionaire Money Moves.
I know you got to get
book. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know you got to take off here. So you got a book coming out. So when that book come out, I for sure want you to come back on here. You know, you're welcome to always come on here and drop your gems and drop your game. But follow him on Instagram, guys, please. Millionaire Money Moves. He gives a lot of free tips on what he has going on. He has a net worth challenge that he's doing. I don't know if you can still join or not. So
Yeah, they may
DM
have to
him
catch. They
about
may have to
that.
catch it next year, but it's been fun, man. We got a lot of people signed up to take the Black Wealth Growth Challenge. So we're gonna grow their wealth in 2022, but hopefully they'll be able to join us. So yeah, thanks, James.
All right, man. I appreciate you. Always welcome on the platform. Cedric Nash, Millionaire Money Moves. All right, you guys, drop a one down in the chat if you enjoyed this. Drop a one down in the chat if you enjoyed the information you got from Cedric. Cedric, you're good to go. I know
All
you
right,
got to
man.
go drop off your son. You're good to go. All right, I appreciate you.
All right,
Thank
be
you.
in touch. Likewise.
All right, guys, for sure. Drop a one down in the chat if you guys enjoyed this. I really appreciate you guys for coming in and sharing and supporting the channel. So, in order to keep this going, in order to keep us having self-made Black millionaires come on the platform for absolutely free, right? Free to you. It costs me, but it's free to you, right? In order for you guys to do that, I need you to like this video. Right? I need you to like this video and I need you to subscribe to the channel because here's what happens. You know, when I reach out to a lot of these entrepreneurs and they are very busy, they say, well, I'll come on the platform when the platform gets here, right? I'll come on the platform when the platform gets there. And they don't say it with their mouth, but you know, you can read cues, right? And we need this information. And in order for us to get this information, we have to grow the channel to be able to attract new people and to be able to grow. So I really appreciate you guys. Please like, please share this out and make sure you guys subscribe. If you are not on the text and email list, go subscribe to Finance Fridays, right? FinanceFridays.com, finance-fridays.com. I really love you guys. I appreciate you guys. As long as you guys are willing to work with me on supporting the channel, I can do what I to bring guys self-made millionaires that are going to educate you, that are going to inspire you for absolutely free, right? And a lot of times people don't value free and it goes over their head, right? And then they go over and try to pay somebody else who's not as qualified as the people we're bringing on. So I really appreciate you guys. Please like, please share, and make sure you drop a comment down below. If you guys have any suggestions on who you want us to bring on to the platform, make sure you guys shoot a DM. All right, make sure you guys shoot me a DM so I can get those people and get my people to work on you know, getting them on the platform. So let's see. We have 135 people on here and we got 100 likes. So I need you guys to like and I need you guys to subscribe to the channel. We got a magnificent young entrepreneur who's coming next week. He's going to teach you guys about investing in growing your wealth through single family homes, using conventional and FHA financing, using hard money financing. So if you guys are interested in diversifying your platform when it comes to real estate, that is the Finance Fridays you guys must be at. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel in order for us to keep this going and keep it free, right? Because I could charge you guys for this, but obviously I want you guys to pay me with your time and your attention, right? So it don't cost nothing to like, it don't cost nothing to subscribe, but I need you guys to help me grow the channel. And with growing the channel, is going to be able to grow the people that we can bring onto the platform. And once we start bringing those people onto the platform, you guys are going to be able to reap the dividends and the benefits of having those individuals on the platform. So again, if you guys enjoy this, please drop a one down in the chat. If you guys enjoyed this, please drop a one down in the chat. It's Bandman Kevin on here. Bandman, that's my guy. That's my guy. I'll work on that. I promise y'all, I'll work on that. So we at 499. Can we get the 5K before we wrap it up? Can we get the 5K before we wrap it up? And if you guys have any business or branding and marketing questions, I'm your guy. I can help you out with your small business. So drop that down below. I will love. Where was the three? The three stocks that he mentioned was Apple. The three stocks that he mentioned was Apple, Berkshire Hathaway, and Bank of America. Apple, Berkshire Hathaway, and Bank of America. So let's get this to 5K. If you guys have any questions, please drop it down below. If you guys have about single moms, I need financial literacy. Yes, so if you're a single mom, you need financial literacy, this is the place to be. We're doing it for absolutely free. Invest that back into your family, into your household, into your kids. It's my job to bring you guys the information. It's your job to execute on the information and grow your wealth, right? It's your job to execute on the information and grow your wealth. So let's get those likes and those subscribers up to 5K. I got to get to 5K before I get up off this thing, right? And then I'm about to go shoot some moves and see my family. I'm in Detroit. For the people who don't know, I'm from the east side of Detroit. And I'm down here for a very important meeting, so big things are coming. And one of the things they're going to talk about is my support, right? They're going to say, well, you only got so on social media. Why would we give you, or why would we come on that platform? Why would we, allow our executives and people to come on that platform, right? I need assistance with building a website for my business. So here's okay. When you're building a website, right? It's better to just go to the platform that may cost you a little more money, right? And you buy a template. For example, if you're selling a product-based business, I would recommend you all go to Shopify and you buy the actual theme. Don't do the free, right? Don't do the free theme because the free theme is only going to get you so far. It's only going to get you so many features, right? Okay, I got people in here from the west side of Detroit. That's what's up. That's what's up. So if you're looking to build out a website, the technology is so advanced now that you can literally pay, or you can go get somebody on Fiverr to do it. But honestly, I would just buy a template off someone. It's going to cost you more in time to build it on your own than it is to just go buy a $200, $300, $400 template. So that's my advice. I want to refer my boyfriend over to your page. Listen, if you have a boyfriend and your boyfriend isn't subscribed to Finance Fridays and isn't subscribed to Black Millionaires and isn't trying to grow his wealth to become a millionaire to support you and your family, you may want to reconsider. You may want to reconsider because it is so important to build strong Black families in our community. And if you're the young lady who's investing in your mind, investing in your education, investing in your business, investing in your brand, and then your boyfriend is not on, he's not on cue with that, you eventually are going to grow apart. So right now, if you have a boyfriend and he's not, on the same wavelength as you as far as investing in your brand, investing in finances, helping you get a better job, things like that, then you wasting your time. Don't get trapped. Don't get caught up. And that's coming from a young guy who always invests in the people who's around me. So I don't want any friends or family or girlfriend or whoever around me if they're not helping me push. If they're not pushing me, I don't need them around me. So that's what I would do. You said you're going to refer your boyfriend. You got to make sure you do that in order to make sure you guys are on the same wavelength for sure. All right, guys. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Yes, themes is what make the difference. It is also easy. If you owe me 1,200 and I don't know what's that. Thank for all you that you're doing. I really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate everything that you guys do, right? Because what you do is very, very important for growing the platform and growing the brand. So I really appreciate that. We're at 126 likes. If you guys have not liked the video before you leave, please make sure you do so and make sure you subscribe. We just hit 5K in subscribers. So that's big. That's big news. So I really appreciate that. Thank you guys for that. And we're going to get up off of here. Okay, I got a few people who, yes, I can't wait. Yes, I can't wait. Yes, I'm telling you guys. Let me give you guys some unsolicited advice, right? Let me give you guys some solicited advice. When I have conversations with my spouse about what we're going to do in the future, it costs money to do the things that we're going to do. So if that person I'm with is not helping me generate more money, then they're a liability. In order to 10x your life, you want to get rid of the liabilities and add more assets. It's that simple. I don't care who it is, cut them off. And that doesn't mean you don't love them. That means you love them enough to know that they are sabotaging your life. So here's a trick. If somebody calls your phone that's sabotaging your life, pick up the phone and say, hey, call this person, call somebody else, right? This is the person for you. Don't go over there and sabotage their financial future. Don't sabotage mine, right? Don't sabotage mine. Right. So I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And I'm about to jump off here. If you guys haven't liked the video, please like and subscribe. And yes, you're going to be able to replay this on YouTube.